So this weekend, seeing a flurry of political activity as various parties revealed their election promises to voters. A sea of red descended on the Johannesburg CBD, where EFF leader Julius Malema used the occasion also to unveil the party's headquarters, named after struggle stalwart, the late Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. The EFF promising to root out corruption, redistribute land, and to tax the wealthy. On the other side of that, DA leader John Steenhuisen telling voters the party's election manifesto serves as a blueprint for local government that works, promising voters its candidates will get things done in every ward. And then there's the Congress of the People, also promising better run municipalities and to build homes for the poor. The ANC set to launch its manifesto in Tshwane later today, where it hopes to regain support after losing the nation's capital back in 2016. But will these bold promises help sway the electorate? Let's bring in Glenn Mpani, who is a managing partner at Shikamo Political Advisory and Campaign Services. He joins us now via our video link. Glenn, it's great to have you with us on the show this morning. And it's so easy to get confused between the different parties, the various promises they are making, and whether indeed it is a copy and paste job from 2016.
Thank you so much. It's good to be on your show, and good morning to your listeners. The first critical question that we need to ask ourselves is, do manifestos help and do they impact?
Yeah.
Do people even read what these political parties promise? And there's very little evidence that my party manifestos help when you're going for an election. I think party loyalty and party identification is what pushes the voter on who to vote for. So as we are less than 50 days to an election right now, the reality is every voter has made a decision on who they are going to vote for. So whatever manifestos that these political parties are launching, they are only for their base, and they will not sway any individual to vote for either of the political parties.
I mean, that's an incredibly important point that you're making there, because there is also an argument to be made that even, as you say, mere 50 days before the elections, there is a large portion of the electorate that's sitting here this morning listening to our conversation and possibly has no idea who they're going to vote for.
Yeah, that's very possible. Part of the challenge that we are going to face in this election, particularly the local government election, if you look at the number of people who are registered, my view is we are likely going to have a very, very low voter turnout. That's another challenge. Secondly, this election has been penciled on a Monday, and most likely are going to have people taking this as a long weekend. And generally speaking, the pattern across the continent is that local government elections rarely excite people for them to be able to go and vote. There is an understanding shift that needs to take place, that people need to understand that local government elections are more important than national elections because this is the sphere of governance that is closer to people. So we're going to have low voter turnout, low participation, and with that at the center is a crux of the problem. This is actually going to affect participation. I don't think they're going to be able to vote. They're going to be able to turn out and vote in this election. So this is going to be a very problematic election when you're looking at turnout.
In terms of, why people should understand how important a local government election is, Glenn, I think it's important for you to outline that for us as we look at our various municipalities, specifically where service delivery is concerned.
Local government is very important because I think this is the sphere of governance that deals with issues of water, that deals with refuse collection, that deals with lived day-to-day experience that we confront on a day-to-day basis. And therefore, there should be an interest because they govern our metros, they govern our municipalities in terms of what happens. They determine how the budget is going to be used and how things are going to be run. So at times, the problems that are attributed to central government, they are mostly problems that could be dealt with at a local level. And unfortunately, people are not interested in terms of the quality of candidates that they are going to get. You'll find that most of the candidates that are elected, they're elected on party lines. And therefore, they might not even have the capacity to run a council. They might not even have the skills of understanding how to prioritize, how to provide oversight. So you end up with poor levels of leadership at the council level, high levels of corruption, simply because people are voting for their political party. Unfortunately, this is a problem that needs to be resolved to be able to have quality service. Can you explain to me why you would have someone who, for example, is not even educated, cannot even read and write, running a multi-million rand budget for a seat? This is a problem. Why would you expect better service from an individual like that?
Yeah. I mean, if we take a look at our 2016 election results, how important are those results in terms of gauging the performance of particular parties, especially when we look at Gauteng, those three metros, Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Ekurhuleni? We know that the ANC suffered some major losses in those three metros. One wonders what the party needs to do, given everything it's been through internally over the past 3 years, the past few years as well, to not only win back those metros, but to actually do well.
I think ANC faces a greater challenge. Whenever you're an incumbent government, you are seldom judged only on the local government. You are also judged on your national politics. And there's things right now, the national politics or the disposition regarding the ANC performance is really receding. So what is going to happen in the three metros is that with low voter turnout, with a very the contestation between the DA and the EFF, and most likely we are going to end up again with a hung council where you are going to simply have coalition governments being made in these three coalitions. I don't see any fortunes turning for the ANC in this coming local government in the three metros.
And if we look at the Western Cape, where the party has also said that it wants to make inroads there, it's something that it's struggled to do for many, many elections now. The DA winning the Western Cape some time ago and managing to hold on to it and to do so quite well. Do you reckon the ANC has a path to some kind of seat situation there?
It will not even also be able to make any strides there. Remember, the DA-led councils, one of the things that they've been able to do as the DA is to ensure that in those councils they perform. And traditionally, the DA has held on to these councils. So again, I don't see the ANC making any traction in those areas.
So let's talk about parties like COPE. Let's talk about Herman Mashaba, and he's been on the campaign trail as well. He's been using the issue of foreign nationals once again, as he's done in the past. How do you reckon the smaller parties are going to do in an election like this one?
The smaller parties, at best, what they are likely to do is they might have candidates. So in an environment where you have a hung council, they might end up as the deciding factor. But in terms of significantly having an impact if there's no hung council, I doubt that it will be very significant. What these small political parties are fighting for is to have one or two votes that ultimately becomes the decider in terms of how policies made, how decisions are made in those councils. But beyond that, I don't see any impact. More, even if you have to look at independent candidates, they are likely going to suffer more. Had we had more people registering in this election, then we're going to look at them, to say maybe the prospects are very high. But with the low voter registration, I don't think they are going to make any traction.
And then, of course, there's the issues around the EFF. Julius Malema yesterday at the party's election manifesto launch, making a whole range of promises, not least of which to tax wealthier South Africans, including other provinces as well. The EFF was a kingmaker in many respects in the 2016 elections. It's hoping, of course, to move past that kind of situation and be an outright winner. Its prospects?
The EFF has got high prospects because remember, what the EFF has done is to remain loyal to its base. The language that they've used is they're targeting the poor, the people who are vulnerable. The chances of them being able to attract that, if you look at even the way they launched their campaign, look at how the DA did it. The DA went virtual because they understand that their catchment is middle class people who have got access to these gadgets. The EFF going out and launching in the public is they understand that their supporters might not have access to these gadgets, might not have access to data and all that other stuff. But the reality of it is that they are going to make traction because they are targeting a low level, lower level supporters on the ground who are worried about the issues of land, who are worried about their lived reality, the issues of taxing the wealthy. So it means that he is going for those people who really, really are being affected by the environment. And chances are that they might go past being kingmakers. And the least that they will do if they are not able to hold on to the metro is they are going to be kingmakers in many municipalities across the country.
Glenn Mpani, thanks very much for your insights as we continue to unpack the various parties and what the stakes are for them as the local government election campaigns get into full swing in the country. He's with Shikamo Political Advisory and Campaign Services.